Hi. Can I have a quick word? Listen, I don't think the car is hitting its performance targets right now. We really do have to find a lot of improvement. Take a look at the report and we'll talk about it later, okay?
What is up, people, and welcome back to my F1 2017 career mode here at the Japanese Grand Prix for round 16 of this first season. And first of all, if you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you also want to go catch up with the whole of the series that you've missed so far, there is a card annotation in the top right hand corner of your screens. So you can go catch up with the previous episode at the Malaysian Grand Prix, and also the whole entire playlist, of course, is there for you guys as well. But getting into today's episode, I don't think Jeff has got the memo that we are ceasing our research and development, and we're not going to upgrade the car until the start of next season. So we can really, you know, boost our Renault car and buy the best possible upgrades for the car that we can, you know, to help ourselves improve and maybe catch up to the Force Indians and the Williams. For now, though, we are slipping back a little bit from those teams and allowing Toro Rosso and Haas to close in on us. But at the moment, we are okay. Toro Rosso are a little bit behind, and the Force India aren't really too far ahead. So I reckon I can catch up to both of those guys within a couple of races of Season 2. But that is really our path for research and development. But getting into today's race weekend for the Japanese Grand Prix, we'll be hoping to have a good weekend here. We struggled quite a bit in F1 2016. This was a circuit where we didn't exactly do too well out, but first of all, jumping straight into the track acclimatization and coming down towards the line, and it looks like, yes, we are. We get the purple score here today, which is 50 resource points added to the bank, which of course we will be spending at the end of the season, which is very good news indeed. Now jumping into the tyre wear management, really struggling with this one, mainly just to beat the target time. And coming down towards the line now, as we cross the line, we don't get the purple score, but we do get a green score, which is okay. We get the green score at the end of the day, which, you know, we'll take that. It doesn't mean, you know, that we're going to get the 50 resource points. It means we only get 30, but we will take what we can get, especially as we really struggled to get past the target time. And now jumping into the fuel strategy, and we got a purple score on that one. So at least there is a little bit of positive coming out of these sessions. We got 2 purples and a green. There's quite a few resource points to gain, 130 resource points just from those 3 practice sessions alone. And unfortunately, we are down in 18th place. My teammate Nico Hulkenberg not exactly doing the best of jobs either, but like I always say in the practice sessions, the lap times, they don't really count to too much. We're not really too focused on the lap times at the end of the day. We just want to try and beat the target times. Now we're jumping into the qualifying run now, coming down towards the line. What's lap time? It's not going to be good enough. Fair enough. 1 second down on the qualifying time, unfortunately, which is really, really unfortunate, and I really struggled. That wasn't the only lap I did. I did a lot more laps, and I just tried to push the car, and I just couldn't beat the target time, nor could I beat the target time in the race strategy one as well. So I feel like this could be a circuit which we might struggle at. Hopefully, though, in the actual qualifying session and the race, we can maybe pick up some pace and see what we can do, get a bit lucky, and maybe get some decent positions. Maybe some grid penalties as well. We've seen a lot of grid penalties at the Malaysian Grand Prix, so if they can carry on in towards Japan as well, then possibly we can start higher up the field and maybe have a good chance of getting some points here today. But down in 16th position after free practice 2. And the slowest of the guys on the super soft tyres, even slower than Stoffel Van Dorn, which is really, really annoying. But practice means absolutely nothing. It's all about the qualifying session. What can we do, though, in the qualifying session? Let's find out.
Welcome to the only figure of 8 track on the F1 calendar. We're here at Suzuka for qualifying today ahead of the Japanese Grand Prix.
Here we go then. Qualifying time for the Japanese Grand Prix, coming round the final corners now, down towards the line for our first lap in this session. What's the lap time going to be good enough before we get the DRS open? Come across the line. It's the slowest at the moment, a 1:32.261. We'll be hoping to maybe improve on that lap time. Luckily, we are quicker than the McLarens and the Saubers. We come down now for our second lap time here in this qualifying session. Just look at the consistency, though, between my first 2 laps. We're only 56 thousandths of a second slower than our previous best lap time. But unfortunately, it's not good enough at the moment. It is not good enough to get us into Q2. So here we are, 8 tenths up at the moment, 9 tenths up on our previous best lap time as we come down towards the line now to set our lap. And what is the time good enough for? Does it get us into Q2? Yes, it does. 15th place, just about scraping into Q2 here, so it's really good news. And just behind Nico Hulkenberg, my team, we're 4 tenths off the pace of Nico Hulkenberg and 1/10 of a second faster than Carlos Sainz to put us into Q2. But here we are in Q2 now for our first lap in this qualifying session, coming down towards the line now to set our first lap in this session. Was lap time going to be good enough for us? 131.815. We do feel like that we can improve on that lap, though. We set 131.4 in the previous qualifying sessions. Here we are, 5 tenths up, 6 tenths up now on our previous best lap time, coming down towards the line, currently in P11, so we may scrape into the top 10 shooter. We crossed the line in 10th place, but will it be enough? Unfortunately, it is not enough to get us into Q3 at the end of the day. We had a lot of drivers setting lap times behind us in this qualifying session, and those guys moving ahead of us. So there we go, 14th place is the best that we could have done in today's qualifying session. 131.1, really happy with that lap time, and only 1/10 of a second slower than my teammate of Nico Hulkenberg, showing that we did make a lot of improvement over the course of this weekend, and that gives us a little bit of hope that maybe we can be in contention with a few battles with the drivers in this race. We just have to wait and see if that. There may be a few penalties thrown about as well, so fingers crossed something like that happens. But that's it for the qualifying session. What can we do from 14th on the grid? Let's find out as we head over to the race for the Japanese Grand Prix.
And all this will be happening under the watchful eye of Anthony Davidson, who joins me for today's race. And assuming the weather holds, where do you expect to see the action unfolding today, Ant?
Well, most of the time, passing here is limited very much into the final chicane, or maybe down into turn 1 if you get a good run and some assistance from DRS. But if we're lucky, we might see a bit of bravery into the hairpin, a place that Kamui Kobayashi certainly made his own in the 2010 Grand Prix on his way to a very impressive 7th place. And as you say, Crofty, this is all assuming that the conditions hold out. We know how quickly the clouds can come in here at Suzuka, and if they do, all bets will be off.
Before we get into today's race, though, let's take a look at the starting grid for the Japanese Grand Prix. And lining up in pole position, it is the championship leader of Sebastian Vettel, with Romain Grosjean on the front row as well, putting his Haas into P2. On the second row of the grid, it's Kevin Magnussen and my teammate Nico Hulkenberg up into 4th place. Myself in 5th, thanks to a whole load of penalties throughout the field. Kvyat in 6th, with Lewis Hamilton down 7th. Alonso 8th, then it's Esteban Ocon in 9th. Valtteri Bottas lines up in 10th. Pascal Wehrlein 11th, with Marcus Ericsson in 12th, with Kimi Räikkönen 13th, and Max Verstappen in 14th. And we have Massa 15th, Van Dorn 16th, Sainz in 17th, Sergio Perez lines up 18th place on the grid, Lance Stroll and Daniel Ricciardo on the back row of the grid. So once again in this season, we are seeing a lot of penalties being dished out towards the end of the season. So just like what happened in Malaysia, we are starting well up the field in P5 at the moment. That gives us a really good opportunity now to push on from this position and maybe score some decent points. I was hoping in the race after qualifying P14 maybe to scrape 1 or 2 points in today's race, but at the moment it's looking promising that maybe we can get a few more here today. The race strategy that the team want me to do, though, is start on the medium tyres and pit for the softs and go for the one-stop strategy, which I believe is the best one to go for. We are going to go for that strategy that the team has suggested. So hopefully this is going to be the way to get us some decent points here today. Maybe even get our second podium of the season. But getting into today's Japanese Grand Prix, as we go to 5 red lights. We have a Ferrari and a Haas on the front row. It is lights out and away we go for the Japanese Grand Prix. It's a fantastic start there for Danny Kvyat on my right hand side. We're just setting now for P6 down towards turn 1. Hamilton around the outside. Kvyat goes for a bit of a half spin. He's onto the grass. He moves back onto the track in my path. Luckily, we managed to avoid the Toro Rosso driver there. That was a very hectic start to this Japanese Grand Prix. Danny Kvyat moving off the circuit, losing the back end, and we very nearly collected the Toro Rosso driver. And that could have been our race over before it had even started. But luckily, we have not managed to do that. Now let's have a look at a replay of what exactly happened to Danny Kvyat in today's race. Here we go, great start for the Toro Rosso driver. Then he just sort of gets held up a bit by Nico Hulkenberg ahead of him, goes down the inside in towards turn 1 and just takes a horrible line there, goes straight into the side of the Haas driver, loses the back end, manages to save it whilst he's on the grass, but coming back onto the circuit in my direction, and he was very lucky that I did not collect him. But now watching this battle for 4th position develop between Kevin Magnussen, myself and Lewis Hamilton. It's very, very close between the 3 of us out on track at the moment. We're going to have DRS and a slipstream all the way down in towards turn 1. No DRS, in fact, is not being activated yet. It's only lap 3 in this race. And there we go, job done. Nice maneuver up the inside there of Kevin Magnussen. And then that puts us up into P4 for this Japanese Grand Prix. Kevin Magnussen holding on to P5 for the time being, but it's only a matter of time before Lewis Hamilton gets the job done. And there he goes. He's got the job done on Kevin Magnussen. We're now hunting down our teammate of Nico Hulkenberg on the run down in towards 130R. Can we get the job done? Maybe through here, down in towards the final chicane. We're going to try it around the outside into the final chicane, side by side between myself and Nico Hulkenberg. Can we hold it? We've got the inside line into the second part, but a greater exit out of the corner for Nico Hulkenberg, gets in the job done and holds on to P3 for the time being. But we've got DRS now on my teammate, using the slipstream, using the DRS to full advantage, pulling over to the right hand side, inside line down towards turn 1. We get the job done before we even have to brake for the corner. And there we go, simple overtake up into P3, and it looks like Lewis Hamilton has followed me through there, moving up into P4. So the battle for third place will still continue between myself and Lewis Hamilton as the laps go on. Here we go, cutting ahead to 1 lap later, going through the Spoon corner. We've got Lewis Hamilton right on our tail at the moment. I'm currently holding on to P3 right now. We're on the podium positions, but Lewis Hamilton moves over to the left-hand side, gets the inside line, going down in towards 130R. Can he hold it? Yes, we can. Around the outside of Lewis Hamilton, side by side through 130R. Lovely driving there from both myself and Lewis Hamilton to give each other the room, especially as we go through this chicane now. But Lewis Hamilton getting the greater traction, greater speed from those super soft tyres out around the outside of the final corner. Gets the job done, unfortunately, and using DRS is going to help him all the way down towards turn 1. We're going to try and fight back as much as we possibly can, but unfortunately nothing in the tank, so we need to go straight into the back there of Lewis Hamilton. Really caught me out with his braking down in towards turn 1, especially as he had the inside line. He just slammed onto the brakes and he went straight into the back of him, and definitely had to avoid contact with Lewis Hamilton down in towards turn 1 and turn 2. But now we're defending our second place. We moved up into second place as a few drivers have come into the pits ahead of us. Roman Grosjean currently leading the race. I believe Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton have come into pits as Valtteri Bottas goes for a lovely manoeuvre up the inside in towards that right-hander before the hairpin. Great overtake from Valtteri Bottas there to move up into P2. We're not going to fight him too much in particular because he is in a lot faster car in that Mercedes. So, you know, the more that we battle with Valtteri Bottas, it just means the more we're going to get held up by the Mercedes driver, and that allows the drivers behind us to form a train and, you know, just get a very easy overtake on us as the race goes on. But now coming under pressure from my teammate of Nico Hulkenberg. Here we go, down in towards 130R. Nico Hulkenberg on the left-hand side is side by side between the two of us through 130R, 180 miles an hour. Side by side between myself and Nico Hulkenberg. That was absolutely incredible stuff there between the two of us. And Nico Hulkenberg is going to try and latch on to the back of our car using DRS and using slipstream. Will it be enough though for my teammate to get the job done on the run down in towards turn 1? No, it isn't, and he's going to have to wait a couple more laps before he can go for that overtake on myself. But he's going to try again. Here goes Nico Hulkenberg on the back of me using slipstream to full advantage. Will he go for the overtake once again down into 130R? Yes, he is. 190 miles an hour this time around, side by side between the two of us, just about managing to hold on the outside of that corner. It seems like if you hold on to the outside through 130R, as long as you give them enough room, you're going to get through fine, and they're not going to make contact with you, unlike what happened in 2016, where you made a lot of contact going side by side through that corner. Nico Hulkenberg now looks to go for the opportunity up the inside, down in towards turn 1 and turn 2. We're going to get him under the brakes, round the outside of turn 1, round the outside of turn 2. But do we get the better exit and my teammate? No, we don't. Nico Hulkenberg, better exit. We've got the inside line in towards this first part of the S's, but it's just going to be side by side between myself and Nico Hulkenberg as he forced me out wide through turn 4 there. Still side by side between the two of us. A little bit of contact, will-to-will action there between the two of us, but unfortunately he has got the job done and he has moved up into P2. A great battle there between myself and Nico Hulkenberg in today's race, keeping it side by side all the way through the S's section of this Japanese Grand Prix. But unfortunately, Nico Hulkenberg does move up into second place, and now the gap is increasing about 8/10 of a second as we went over that sector split. So we've got another driver coming into the pits now. I believe that was Valtteri Bottas into the pits. We run down in towards turn 1. We've now moved up into second place. So it's currently a Renault 1-2 in this Japanese Grand Prix. But Sebastian Vettel is going to change that. He's going side by side down in towards 130R. Here we go. Can we hold it around the outside of Sebastian Vettel? We're going to try, which we do. It's still wheel to wheel between the two of us down in towards the final chicane. Sebastian Vettel's so much better under brakes, especially on those better soft tyres. They're a lot fresher than my own on these mediums I've been running for 14 laps in today's race. And now we're going to come under pressure from the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas, who swoops over to the right-hand side. He's going to get the inside line down in towards turn 1. No, he doesn't. Down to turn 1. There's contact between myself and Valtteri Bottas. He is literally just punted me off the road. What on earth is Valtteri Bottas doing down in towards turn 1? Hopefully we do get a replay to see exactly what's happened through there to make my decision. Here we go, watching a replay now. So we've dropped down into 5th position because Valtteri Bottas, he's not even side by side with us. He dives up the inside, catches our rear right tyre, puts us into a spin, puts us off the track, and unfortunately for us, we have dropped down the field and lost a lot of time to drivers that we were battling with in this race. Now having a look at replay on board this time around of Valtteri Bottas, who's, yeah, look at him, he's not even side by side, just dives it very late on the brakes, up the inside, just runs straight into the back of myself. And I'm really, really surprised that Valtteri Bottas hasn't even got a penalty for that collision. That is out of order. That is out of order from Valtteri Bottas to punt us off the road through that first corner. But now coming under pressure, we've got to focus on our own race. We've got to get rid of those frustrations and focus on keeping these guys behind us. Fighting now with Romain Grosjean down in towards the final chicane. Unfortunately, we just don't have the legs on this car anymore. The medium tyres have really started to wear out, so I'm deciding it's time to come into the pit lane. We're coming into the pits for our first pit stop in this race, and 15 laps so far on these medium tyres is not too bad. 15 laps on these tyres, so I'm very, very happy with that. But it is definitely time to come into the pits for a set of soft tyres, which will take us the 12 laps needed to go the distance. Here we are on a set of soft tyres and underway. A little bit slow on the exit of the pit stop there. 3.6 second stop because once again just messing up on the clutch. I released the clutch a little bit too early from the pit stop there, coming out in P10 at the moment, and that is why I'm way down the field, because I released the clutch a little bit too early, and unfortunately I had to go through the whole phase all over again. That lost me just too much time at the end of the day. I feel like if I got that right, I might have come out in P9 ahead of Sergio Perez, but I feel like P10 is probably whereabouts we would have been. We've now got Kimi Raikkonen right behind us, but I believe he has come into the pits. We're now cutting ahead to lap 20 in this race, hunting down Sergio Perez, who then decides to come into the pits. So Perez into the pits here on lap 21 of this Japanese Grand Prix. We've got another driver into the pits as well, Romain Grosjean on those super soft tyres. That's good news for myself. Moving up into P7. So it's been a little bit disappointing that we are down in P7 for today's race, but you know, we are in a car which is struggling. It's not got the upgrades that we really should be putting on it at this stage of the season, of course, because we are saving ourselves for the end of the season where we can really upgrade the cars. But we're now going on the attack of Kevin Magnussen down in towards turn 1, up the inside through the corner. We've overshot it a little bit too much. That's a great maneuver there from Kevin Magnussen just to do the switchback. He was just like, okay, right, you're going to get past me now, but you're going to overshoot it and I'm going to get that position back. So that is great thinking there from Kevin Magnussen to get the job done on us and hold on to P6. But now we're coming under pressure from Romain Grosjean. There's a little bit too much of a gap now between myself and Kevin Magnussen. Romain Grosjean goes for the overtake. Where's he going? On the right hand side. Gonna have to hold it up the inside through 130. We hug the apex of that corner, get the job done of holding the position against Romain Grosjean. Very late on the brakes though compared to Kevin Magnussen through that final chicane. Right, what can we do on that Haas driver? We are very quick a couple of laps ago, going for the overtake down in towards turn 1. Can we do it again, but this time not overshoot it down into the corner? Here we are on the back of Kevin Magnussen. Move over to the right hand side. We brake early, but he runs it very wide. We see that gap. And look at that. What an amazing overtake that was. We saw the gap forming where Kevin Magnussen just running a little bit wide in between turns 1 and turn 2. We took that opportunity. We went through there and we have taken 6th position. But here is the man, Sebastian Vettel, the championship leader, comes through the final corner now and he wins the Japanese Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel is our race winner for today's race. It's been a fantastic race for him. He started in pole position, the only driver of the top 6 guys who did not take a grid penalty for today's race. And he really took that to his advantage. He's won today's race. Valtteri Bottas finishes in 2nd, but now we're under pressure from Kevin Magnussen here on the final lap of this Japanese Grand Prix. Move over to the right-hand side, take the outside line through 130. Magnussen gets the job done, but round the outside, there's contact between the two of us. We've broken a little bit of our front wing up the inside, down into the final chicane. It looks like we've just about defended there from Kevin Magnussen. Romain Grosjean also overtakes his teammate right to the depth, and we come across the line for a fantastic P6 at the end of the day. What an incredible result for ourselves at a track which I have struggled so much in previous years. What an incredible race at today's Japanese Grand Prix. Battles with the AI all over the place. 130R at 190 miles an hour side by side with quite a lot of drivers in today's race. That's absolutely incredible. But it was Sebastian Vettel who wins today's Japanese Grand Prix, and that's really going to help him extend his lead over his championship rivals in today's race. Valtteri Bottas finishes in second, with Lewis Hamilton making it onto the podium as well in P3. Max Verstappen in fourth. Nico Hülkenberg getting the better of me here today, finishing in P5, but that's a great result for my teammate. I finished in P6 with Romain Grosjean 7th, Kevin Magnussen 8th, we've got Kimi Räikkönen 9th, Carlos Sainz getting the final championship point here today, with Sergio Perez, Daniel Ricciardo and Fernando Alonso just missing out in today's race. And then further down the field, we have Lance Stroll in 14th, Felipe Massa in 15th, Esteban Ocon 16th, Kvyat in 17th, Verline in 18th, Marcus Ericsson in 19th, and then Stoffel Van Dorn right at the back of the field. No DNFs for today's race, which is really nice to see. But now taking a look at the Drivers' Championship, after 16 rounds of this season, we still hold on to P7, extending our lead over Esteban Ocon in the championship. The gap between the two of us now is 12 points, so it's looking really good that we are going to hold on to P7. I don't feel like we're going to catch up to Daniel Ricciardo or Max Verstappen in today's season. More likely Daniel Ricciardo than Max Verstappen. Currently the gap between myself and Daniel Ricciardo is about 30 points, so I still feel like that is not really achievable, especially with the races coming up. I feel like we may struggle quite a bit as we're not upgrading the cars. The other teams are upgrading the cars. We're going to struggle a little bit over the course of the end of this season. So it's going to be a case of trying to get track position and then just defending from there. But Sebastian Vettel extends his lead in the championship here today, 30 points over Kimi Räikkönen, with Lewis Hamilton 41 points off as well. Valtteri Bottas looking like his championship hopes are well and truly over. Constructors standings then, and we have gained a little bit on the Force India team here today. They're on 137 points. We are on 126. So 11 points separate the two teams at this stage of the season. We've got some good races coming up, but like I said, we are going to struggle with getting the good results in those races. Of course, our car is not as good as it really should be if we carried on the development, but I've got a good idea of what I want to do, where I want to get the best upgrades at the end of the season. So that's what I'm really aiming for. But at the moment, we're just going to have to take that hit, just struggle a little bit with the car in the final stages of this season, but just try and get the best possible results that we can. But that's it for today's Japanese Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed this episode, don't forget to smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so for daily Formula 1 content. And also don't forget to leave a comment down below. What did you guys think about today's race? And also, while you're at it, go and share this video with your friends. That would mean a whole load to me as well. But I'll see you next time at the American Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me.